People are buying the wrong handguns right now. Not kinda wrong. Straight up looks good on the counter, turns ugly when you run it wrong. And I know because I got caught. I kept a receipt from one of those can't miss purchases, not for feelings, for proof. I talked like an expert. Then that pistol embarrassed me in front of two dudes who didn't even have to say anything. They just watched me try to explain it. So this isn't a ranking. It isn't a deep technical review. It's April 2026. 10 handguns you need to see because they're showing up everywhere, getting recommended hard, or doing something people ignore until it matters. One on this list looks perfect and still burns people. One starts arguments every time I mention it, and one sounds like it doesn't belong here until you understand what it actually fixes. Yeah, I thought the same thing. Then I started seeing what actually happens. I watched 3 first-time buyers in a row do the same weird thing at a counter in Texas, like somebody taught them a move. Around late winter, it kept happening. They walked in stiff, trying to act like they already decided. They grabbed the usual pistols people brag about online, nodded like they understood, set them down, and then their hands went straight back to the Ruger Security 380. Not once, like a magnet, again and again. One guy came in loud, dead set on another gun. He said it like he needed witnesses. He held his pick for 10 seconds, shoulders locked up, then set it down real careful and grabbed the Security 380 with this little exhale like he just stopped fighting. The clerk leaned in and said it quiet. This one's been flipping decisions all week. That's what hooked me. Not because the Security 380 looked cool, it didn't. It felt doable immediately. Less intimidation. Less, am I messing this up? The buyer stopped negotiating with himself the second it sat right in his hand. Then the .380 word landed, and people got weird, defensive, like they needed permission, and that's the part that stuck. How fast a first gun gets chosen, off a 5-second feeling, and what kind of buyer it doesn't flip. Because the next one, the pattern changed, and it got a lot louder. A few months back, I was at a weekend setup where people did the usual thing, laying out striker guns, talking optics, pretending they weren't trying to trade up. I ended up near an older guy with 2 handguns on the table, and he kept glancing at somebody else's CZ75S P01 like he was trying not to make it obvious, just looking, then looking away. He finally laughed and said, "I used to think these were too heavy to bother with. Now I think I got rid of mine too early." That line stuck. Right then, a younger dude with an optic cut slide snorted loud. "Yeah, but nobody carries those bricks." He wanted the room to back him up. Nobody did. The older guy just smiled, and the loud guy went quiet on his own. A few minutes later, another guy joined in and said almost the same thing. Different words, same feeling. Not excitement, regret. Like they'd spent the last few years chasing lighter, newer, easier guns, and suddenly started looking backward. Nobody was hyping the SP01. That's what made it interesting. And that's why it belongs in April 2026. Everybody chases light and new. Then an SP01 reminds them what calm feels like. When I left, the gun I kept thinking about wasn't the newest thing on any table. It was that SP01. I already had another handgun in the roll. That was the plan. I wasn't shopping, wasn't exploring, wasn't looking to get talked into anything. Then I swapped over to the SIG Sauer P365 X-Macro for a stretch just to settle something in my own head. Simple little reality check, bad idea. Because the comparison got uncomfortable fast. I went into it expecting to prove the older choice still made more sense. That's what I wanted. I wanted to feel justified. Instead, the X-Macro kept stepping on that argument all day. And what made it worse was how normal it felt, like it had been the obvious answer the whole time. The way everybody keeps pushing these do-it-all compacts lately, I figured it was noise. I figured it was people repeating each other. Draw felt cleaner. Grip landed where it was supposed to. Little interruptions disappeared. The tiny moments where you adjust, reseat, rethink, gone. And that annoyed me because it felt too easy. like it was cheating. That's the trap with a gun like this. Once your day feels smoother, you can't unfeel it. You don't go back to, does it work? You start hearing the uglier question. Why the hell did I keep resisting it? And once that question shows up, you're stuck carrying it around in your head. Then I grabbed the next one, and it didn't let me stay comfortable. My favorite person to shoot with isn't family. It's the one guy who never hypes anything and never lets me hype anything. He asked to borrow a pistol for a week. I handed him the Glock 19X and didn't give a speech. I told myself I didn't care. Then I caught myself checking my safe every night like an idiot, like the gun snuck back home on its own. When he returned it, he didn't hand it back clean. It came back honest, dust in the stippling, lint packed in the corners, a little sweat shine on the grip. The finish looked like it rode on a belt and got ignored. He set it down and goes, I forgot it was there. That's the point. No compliment, no great trigger, just that. And it messed with me because right now everybody chased features, cuts, comps, whatever dropped this week. The 19X didn't play that game. It just stayed out of the way while the work happened. I took it back, and the scary part hit me. I trusted it most when I stopped thinking. I trusted it most when I wasn't thinking. That sounded like freedom. It also sounded like complacency, and I hated I liked it because the second I started relaxing, I started wondering what I missed. I didn't even care about the Springfield Armory Echelon at first. I cared about the vibe around it. Everybody talked like the case was closed, like the jury already went home. I heard it said with that smug grin, like questions were for rookies. And in April, that's how guns get treated. Something checks the right boxes early and people get lazy. They stop asking the annoying questions. They start recommending it like physics, push back, and guys act like you insulted their kid. They don't defend the pistol. They defend the feeling of being early. So I grabbed an Echelon and ran it with that in my head. Not lab coat testing, just real reps. First draw, it felt too easy. My hand found everything without thinking. I reholstered and did it again slower, trying to catch what everyone was so damn sure about. Same result. Clean. No drama. And that made me more suspicious, not less. Because the problem wasn't the gun. The problem was how fast everybody stopped interrogating it. Right now, this month, guns like this get crowned in a weekend. Modular, optic ready, trigger. Cool. That's the easy part. The hard part shows up later, when the shine wears off and real life starts arguing back. That's the part nobody wants to wait for, until it shows up on them. I was in the middle of a pretty routine stretch. Nothing unusual, nothing rushed, and the M&P9 Shield Plus was doing exactly what it's supposed to do. No drama, no noise, just that clean, predictable, don't even think about it. Handling that makes these little guns so easy to live with. And then something small happened. Not a failure, not a jam. Nothing you can point at and go, there's the problem. It was worse than that. It was a tiny moment where the draw didn't line up the way my hands expected it to. Same holster, same grip, same motion. But the gun came out just a hair wrong. Like my palm landed a fraction off, and I had to do this micro fix I never do. And I paused. Not long, just a beat longer than I should have. That beat felt loud as hell. Because with a gun in this category, you're not buying excitement, you're buying consistency. In April, that's the whole point. Carry it, trust it, forget it. And one tiny interruption ruins the spell. The Shield Plus didn't fail. My rhythm did. And once you notice that pause one time, your brain starts waiting for it again. Then I grabbed the next gun and it wasn't subtle about anything. Back in March, I showed up to a small local match. Nothing huge, but serious enough you don't get away with cute, sloppy runs. I wasn't there to reinvent anything. I wanted clean. I wanted consistent. No surprises. Between stages, my instructor looked at what I was running, paused like he was choosing how hard to embarrass me, and goes, "You are making this harder than it needs to be." That hit like a slap. Not because it was mean, because it was true. And it was true in that way where your stomach drops because, you've been fighting your own gear like it's a personality trait. So I grabbed the CZ Shadow 2 carry for the next stages, and the difference wasn't subtle, it was rude. Transitions tightened up immediately. Follow-ups felt planted instead of rushed. The sights came back like they were on a track. I stopped overdriving everything. It didn't feel like I was dragging the gun through the stage anymore. It felt like the gun was carrying the pace, and I was just trying to keep up. On the drive back, he didn't congratulate me. He just said, "Now you see why people are starting to pay attention to that one." Yeah, and now I couldn't unsee it, and I didn't like what that meant. My phone kept lighting up with the same DM in different words. X4, worth it? X4 still a thing? Why are guys talking about the Storm again? At first I ignored it, and then it hit that annoying level where it wasn't one person. It was noise, like a rumor trying to turn into a fact. So I grabbed a Beretta PX4 Storm with one goal: shut it up. First string, I understood the problem, not the gun sucks. The opposite. It felt slick in a way that made me speed up before I earned it. My hands started getting greedy. I took a shot I didn't deserve yet, then another, because the recoil impulse felt like it was helping me. It wasn't. It was tempting me. And that's where the pressure showed up. The PX4 didn't calm me down. It dared me to get sloppy. It exposed what I do when something feels good. I outrun my sights. I cheat my grip. I try to buy time with confidence. I reset and ran it again, slower, and it still wanted to pull me forward. That's why the DMs made sense this month. A gun like this doesn't just work. It changes how you behave. And if a pistol makes you feel better than you are, it sets you up to get humbled. The next one on the list, it doesn't tempt you, it tests you. Canik TP9 SF. Yeah, I know. Comments already lit up because people don't get mad at the gun first. They get mad at what it represents. A pistol that doesn't cost status money, showing up and acting like it doesn't care about your brand loyalty. And in April, it pisses folks off even more because everybody's out here chasing the same safe picks, same talking points, same approved list. So I ran the TP9 SF the way I run anything I don't trust yet, fast enough to expose me. First string, I felt that trigger break, and my mouth actually did the little O thing before I could stop it. The gun came back on target like it had a plan. Not me, it. I tried to slow it down just to prove it wasn't real. Didn't work. Hit stacked. Follow-ups landed like I was cheating. And the worst part, it wasn't flashy. It was just easy in a way that made my expensive taste look emotional. That's why this one sits at the top. Not because I love it, because it forces a nasty question. If this runs like that, what the hell am I paying for the rest of the time? Now I've got to live with that. Why is this here? Pick. It isn't here to impress anybody. It's here because there's a problem popping up all over the place right now. And most people don't notice it until they already paid. That gun handles it. No drama, no flex. It just solves the ugly part. And that's the part that bugs me because I still like the slick stuff. I still want the clean answer. And this list proves there isn't one. Even the fan favorite on here has a thing nobody talks about until it shows up on a bad day. So yeah, I like this list, and I don't trust it. I'm Steve, and I'm not done arguing with my own picks.